Hello, everybody. Lynn, Pierre here with Homeschool Aficionado. I have a special guest for you today. I've known her in ministry for years, and the one thing that I want you to know, and we're going to talk about it, I'm going to ask her about it, is she stayed consistent throughout the entire time that I knew her in ministry. You know, everyone has good days and bad days, but this woman I'm talking about here stayed smiling and happy and full of the joy of the Lord the entire time that she was there and that I knew her. So since that time, she has started her own business, her own travel agency, and I had no idea, but she has traveled all her life, and that's what she loves to do, and that's what she's passionate about. So she went from full-time ministry to a full-time travel agent. So the one I'm talking about is none other than Chelsea. So I want you to sit back and relax and enjoy this interview. I'm gonna have a good hour or so sit down and talk with her. I have no idea where this conversation is gonna go, but I believe it'll be great. So just enjoy. This is Chelsea on the Homeschool Aficionado podcast. Okay, Chelsea.
Yes.
We are finally here.
Yes, we are.
We've gotten all this taken care of. I got me a little master class.
Yes, you did.
On setup, so I love that.
Welcome to my life.
So, welcome to your life. Tell us who you are and what you do and what you're all about. But before you do that, I want to tell you this.
Okay.
So, I don't even know how long we've known each other.
What, maybe 5-6 years now?
It hasn't been that long.
Yeah, I was at the church almost 6 years ago.
Oh my God.
I know.
This has been in a while.
Yeah.
But one thing that is special about you, since I've been in North Carolina, I've been to, I'll say 3 different ministries over the span of my time here.
Yeah.
And from the first day I met you, you smiled and greeted me. And throughout all the years that I've known you, you've done the same exact thing. And so I'm sure you have good days, you have bad days, just like everyone else, but you know how to present yourself well. And I feel like you're presenting yourself well, like for the other person.
Yeah.
You wanted me to know that I'm a real person and you see me and you want me to have a good experience at the worship experience.
Yeah.
So, I mean, your consistency in being just friendly and kind. Is matchless. And honestly, I don't remember experiencing someone in ministry that was that consistent until I met someone like you. And then here's the thing, you were also in leadership. So it's like with me, with my other ministries, people that I have experienced in leadership have sort of been a little, they'll speak to you when it's appropriate.
Yeah, a little more removed.
A little more removed. But then other times they may not.
Yeah.
And you've been like consistent like across the board. So I appreciate you for that. But not just for me and my whole family.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean, you're just like that. Because like with, I got a few kids though. They'll talk about you behind your back, like to us privately.
Oh yeah.
So the fact that their conversation about you, like behind your back, is consistent with what I see with you in your face is priceless. So I appreciate that. But tell us who you are and what you do and what's life like right now and all that.
It's great. So I am Chelsea Vanacore Becker, if you take my husband's last name with it. Yeah. But I go by Vanacore because my company right now is Vanacore Adventures. And so right now, officially as of 2 weeks ago today, kind of crazy, I am a full-time business owner, travel planner. And I like to say travel consultant because I kind of do all the things, not just plan the travel. But yeah, that is my main role right now. And what's also fun is though, I still get to do like weddings and premarital coaching on the side and stuff. So I'm always like doing a few different things, but my main role right now is Vanacore Adventures. Yeah.
So tell me this, why is that your main thing right now? Why are you a travel agent?
Yeah. Why? Well, logistically, it made a lot of sense because it is one of my favorite things to do. But I mean, truly, I have been building this business for about 2 years, but I have been traveling like internationally and, around this country since I was 16. I took my first international flight to England from Connecticut when I was 16, and me and a friend. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
You and a friend. So this is not a family thing.
Yeah, no, my mom has never been overseas. Never. Yeah.
My goodness.
The first time my mom went on an international trip was for my husband's 40th last year. We took him and we went to the Caribbean. But no, so I have always had the travel bug. We used to do road trips. But yeah, so I've loved it forever. And I used to plan travel, my own travel, my friends' travel, my family, not my parents, but other family members.
But you just did it for fun. Yeah. And it wasn't work for you. No. It was just, hey, this is what I love to do and I just do it.
Yeah, love it. I just love it. And not just the travel part not the like it's fine if it's a vacation for some people, but I also just love exploring and like the adventure part, cultures, people. So yeah, the more of the world I can see, the better.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we're talking about you being an associate pastor.
Yeah.
And then you're like moving everything, I guess you could say, your roles to being an entrepreneur. How did ministry prepare you for that?
Oh gosh. I feel like if you do well in ministry, you will do well almost anywhere. I think
Wow.
to work in ministry, it is such a unique world that you have to balance all kinds of things. Like it's a church and a business. They are like people are made in God's image, but also they are humans and imperfect. And you also have to say yes and no, which is hard when you're in ministry.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'm a empath and kind of a bleeding heart. For me to learn how to navigate that. I mean, that also came from previous experiences too. But I think if you can do that well and you learn how to connect with people and, think about it, you're in ministry. People don't like to say it's like sales or you're selling something, but you kind of are. I mean, you're literally selling the gospel. So if you are good enough to figure out how to like preach the gospel in a non-preachy way, you're probably going to be good in most other, businesses or sectors or
So tell me this. So you're a Christian entrepreneur and you come from the Christian faith and ministry.
Yep.
So what role does your faith play in you being Vanacore Adventurous?
Yeah.
What role does it play?
I mean, to be honest, and not in a like a corny way, but it really is everything. I mean, I struggled for a while being like, okay, should I just be fully in the non-sector world? Before I was in ministry, I ran a school, a non-Christian school. So even that, like, I never planned to work at a church.
Okay.
My mom always jokes. She's like, you'll be a pastor or a principal. Now I've been both. But I was a principal first. Yeah. And of course, when mom's right, you're like, really? You're right. But I have to say, I wanted to be a doctor. So fun fact, I didn't want to be any of this. Yeah. I studied medicine. Yeah. Fun fact. All right. Mama's.
You studied medicine?
Yeah. Kids, like students listening right now, let me tell you, I was psych neuroscience. And
No way.
Yes. Do I use that degree in my world? Yeah. Do I formally and officially use that degree? No. I took 2 years off from med school and never went back. I know, it's sad. I still think about it. So
cool.
Maybe in 5 years you'll have me back and I'll be talking about being in med school because I still miss it all the time.
Really? I never knew that.
Yeah, so it's really cool because I never thought I would work in a church, but I have but faith has always been the most important thing in any decision. When I studied medicine, I wanted to serve like less fortunate and like underprivileged communities, right? Over medication of kids in poor communities. That was like my focus, always because of God. Right. Tried to leave college because I was on a missions trip and like never wanted to go back. My mom's like, you better finish your degree that we paid for. But like faith has always been the guiding thing. Even when I took 2 years off from med school and I was in an Americorps program. It was a service program. Yeah. And I went and did boot camp to learn how to teach and went into like some of the most underprivileged schools where they couldn't hire teachers and did that for a couple of years with a program called Teach for America. So it was always because it was like a calling or God was like, nope, this is what you're going to do. Yeah. And so that's kind of how I ended up where I was. And then with a big transition, I ended up applying to the church that I last worked at. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess I will go into ministry formally, but that wasn't until I was 32.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I did not work at a church until I was 32. Absolutely. And that's, I think, why on the other side now, it's not, you ask like, how does faith play a role or where does it come into play? I'm like, because it's the only thing, and not in a Christianese way of like, yes, it's everything. Of course you have to be somewhat practical about it. And, I do my budgeting, my pros and cons. Can I make it work? Can me and my husband make it work? Is my husband going to have a panic attack when I rip the Band-Aid and quit my full-time, 9 to 5 job? Church is 9 to 5. Yeah. So it really wasn't, it wasn't actually like that big of a thing for me because it was been like kind of ingrained in how I make decisions. I've had 4 career changes now and I'm only 37.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, and this is a nice little segue to like go all the way back.
Yeah.
So take me to when you were, I don't know, elementary school, middle school. Yeah. What was life like growing up? Where were you? Where were you born? All that stuff. I'm
a New Englander. So if I talk really fast, that's why. Yeah, I'm from Connecticut.
Okay.
Yeah, but like New York side of Connecticut. So sorry if I talk quickly, but Oklahoma slowed me down. But so I was born and raised there and oldest, obviously, if you know me, I'm the oldest.
Yes.
And I was raised Catholic, actually.
Really?
Yeah. Did you know this about me?
No.
I know. In fact. Yeah. But it was really beautiful because my family was, just really strong believers, very traditional setting. And when I was little, I actually wanted to be a singer, but I know, like very pitch perfect of me. Yeah. Yeah.
And when you say little, you're talking about like elementary school little or like high school little?
Yeah. So I was performing since the time I was 5 and I had a vocal coach. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I know. And so
I'm getting a lot of fun facts.
I know I'm a weird mix of a human. Yeah. But I think that's really fun. And I love talking about it because even when I had youth group or, things like that, or,
Yeah.
my youth that come back now, I'm like, y'all don't worry about decisions because I wanted to do and have done 4 or 5 different things in my life.
Right.
Right. And so it's fun. But yes, I grew up, studied music, wanted to do music and medicine and basically help kids like with autism or different diagnoses. So that's how I got into medicine. Like that was my focus. I want to do music therapy.
Therapy.
Yeah,
Okay.
super like very niche, but because I loved my voice and that's how I knew God. And then I got polyps in my vocal cords when I was junior and like about to audition for colleges and things. Didn't get the surgery, so I still have them. Which is why I have a raspy voice now. Like when I have like a yeah.
Yeah. So is this voice here different than what it was?
Uh-huh. Yep, my first part of my life. It's super weird. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Like, do you still sing now?
I can, but after like a good couple hours or even like an hour of singing, then my vocal cords like get irritated and then I like don't have a voice for a little while. I know it's kind of sad and I've lost a couple octaves, but not like I'm bitter or anything. Sometimes I sit there because I used to worship, like lead at church.
Yeah.
And so it is like my first love. My first love is worship leading. I know it is weird. Since I was like 10, I used to do like weddings and funerals, literally as a little girl. It was fun.
That is
First love.
sweet.
Yeah, first love. And then I wanted to study medicine when I couldn't sing anymore, a little mad about it. I did run away from God for a little bit because I was mad. I was like, oh, you took the thing from me.
So was that the transition? The fact that you had polyps, is that what led you into the medical field?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I always wanted to do like music medicine, music therapy.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, I can't do the music part anymore. So, and then I did a couple like missions trips and worked with a couple boys' homes and, things when I was in college. I went to a Jesuit school. And so their men and women for others was our slogan. And so Hurricane Katrina hit when I was there. I went down to New Orleans and did Katrina relief. And so
that was your first time doing mission trips?
Yeah.
In college?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, every spring break was some form of mission trip for us, which is really cool. I mean, it's fun to think about like 70% of my college. That's where we did some form of ministry. Yeah. And, it was a go Jesuits. It was like a really big thing. And that's also, like I said, I traveled when I was 16, but then I traveled more throughout college as well. Okay. So it was, super fun.
So your bug for traveling, back in 16, you went international. Yeah. But even in college doing mission trips, that was still like feeding that, hey, I want to travel thing.
Think about it. Like going from Connecticut to New Orleans, I went to school in Massachusetts, not that different, New England, it's all New England. But, going to a completely different area of the country, even in your own country, I remind people like you can still do missions in your own backyard. Right. Like, of course, I think it is different when you go to another world and you're like, oh, okay, this is a third world country. But going to, New Orleans, where people keep rebuilding in a place where you're going to get flooded every few years. And they're the most faithful people I've literally ever met at 20 years old. It's quite life-changing. Tried to quit college. My mom was like, you better get back here. Like you're not staying down there.
So in college, you were studying medicine.
Yeah.
And so your degree was supposed to be in what?
So psych, I would have psych, but focus in neuroscience. And then I would have been pre-med if I wanted to go on to med school.
Well, that's big time. So did you finish like your mother told you to?
I did finish college. Yeah. Okay, I did. And then I said I was going to take 2 years, like they all say, before going back to med school. My mentor at the time was like, hey, I graduated in 2009. So not a great time for recession. I mean, it was a rough time to graduate college and make big decisions. So I had done so much with like missions or working in inner city schools just from a volunteering perspective. Right. And because I wanted to study the people that I hopefully wanted to help with medicine at the time, because that was the point.
That was the point.
I actually wanted to help like the over medication of kids, specifically boys, and in, low income areas. It's just like throwing medicine at kids, medicating them, which I'm not anti.
And that's like keep them calm, keep them in the seat so they can.
Yes. And here's the thing. I'm all about medicine when it's right. It was just an over medication of a population that I could not. And I'm very social justice oriented. Things will infuriate me and then I just go at it.
No, where does that come from? Do you know?
Honestly, I think it is my faith. Like it's gotta be. I mean, but it also, I don't know. I worked with Special Olympics growing up. Like I always worked with marginalized communities when I was little. And it was like it was very part of my upbringing. We would serve at like the soup kitchen before certain holidays, just different things. It's like, I don't think I was ever specifically sat down and was like, look at, but I always worked and served in different populations of people that I did not understand why we're looked at different, treated different, talked about differently, walk on the other side of the street. So anyways, that's a whole, probably the more the basis of everything I do, honestly, which is probably why I love travel, because getting to understand different cultures and the way people live and why they live the way, that is actually probably the root of why I love it. Because people can vacation, but if you stay in a resort, right? Like, and I'm fine. You want to take your little honeymoon all inclusive. That's great. And I do those too. But I mean, it is different when you like talk to the local business owner, you know? Yeah.
Okay. So now we're in college, and you said you're going to take 2 years off, and then you're going back to med school.
2 years.
So what really happened?
So I joined a program called Teach for America, which is great. Shout out to TFA. And it was kind of a boot camp in training non-traditional educators to go into classrooms and teach for a few years. And it was a wild time. I mean, brilliant concept. Some people are anti, but if you think about it, we went into the schools where you could not hire people, or you could not keep people. So it's not like I was taking jobs away from teachers. We were going into schools where they needed people. And we were, you know,
they couldn't hire people because of what? No one wants to go there?
Yeah.
Is that bad? Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I've been jumped in the parking lot a few times. I've been, been threatened. Yeah.
By kids?
Parents and children. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of those.
Yeah. But it's okay. You know what? Like my mom and husband don't love that.
Right.
It is what it is. But
so stop there for a second, because I'm just thinking, you know, if anybody I know is going to a job where they might possibly get jumped by parents and kids and stuff, I'm like, well, I think you can work somewhere else, you know?
Yeah.
And what's in you to say that, hey, this is part of the career path I'm on, and if I'm not here, then no one will be.
I mean,
so
that's it. So it's so ingrained in me, and sometimes to a fault. I do understand that. Like, I need to know safety, and sometimes I lean too much. Like, it's fine. Honestly, if I'm going to go down, I might as well go down like doing something good for God. You know, honestly, I say that all the time with prison ministry. I'm like, it's fine. If this is my end, I think I'm good. Like, I feel like it's a straight shot. And honestly, I kind of feel like that with, you know, the areas I used to teach in. Like, first of all, a lot of people won't be there, but also people are only a product of like generational cycles, right? And I truly believe that. So people say I'm a bleeding heart. I just am such an empath that I really try to understand people's why, even if they're coming at me. Like, I literally had a couple of parents that sat down in front of me, and they were Black, and they said, like, you're a young white girl, like, you're never going to know how to teach my kid. And I was like, well, I am 22 from Connecticut. Like, I completely understand that. I said, but I probably know more than you think I do. I mean, college was my friends were super multiracial. And, but also I was like, if you give me a chance, like, you teach, like, just tell me and I will try. Like, and that little boy was actually a ring bearer in our wedding. Like, those parents.
No.
Absolutely. Yeah. The whole family.
One thing I like about that is some parents would think that, but not communicate that
and
to
not
you.
even give me the chance to
not give you the chance. And the fact that they communicated with you and gave you the chance, now we can get somewhere. Like, as a nation, we can get somewhere.
Tasha and Dewan Sr., I love you if you're listening. But I mean, they're great. And they were like, hey, we're sorry, but we just don't think this is good. I said, well, give me a shot. And also, I know where I come from, but I want to know. And so, and so I did my 2-year commitment and taught in Tulsa. They sent me to Tulsa, Oklahoma. And Tulsa, you know, it's a special place because it is the location of one of the biggest race massacres in history. And it is also super racially divided. It is getting so much better now, but it's this was 09, so 16 years ago. So it's crazy. So that's when I went. And so I was there, and then.
How long were you there?
In Tulsa, 10 years, not 2. Yes. Yep.
Years.
Yep. And I ended up staying because you don't leave when you see a need. You don't. I mean, I don't leave. It's
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow, that's a big deal.
It is a big deal. So that is actually where I ended up staying in education for a while, got my master's.
Were you alone then? So, like, but I mean, you didn't know anyone there?
No, it was well, I will say it was fun because Teach for America is an AmeriCorps program where they send groups of people. So it was the first group in Tulsa. It was the first time Teach for America went to Tulsa. And now we have a presence there. I mean, they're there. And there were 75 of us from all over the country, different backgrounds, colleges, and so we didn't know each other beforehand, but you go and that's your little cohort.
Okay.
So it was kind of great.
So you did go there alone, you didn't have previous friends?
No, but we had a community, which is so great. I mean, those programs are really special. It was kind of an extension of college, but you're also an adult in a really nice way. And and so I ended up saying, I was like, there's too much of a need. So I was there, and after a few years, ended up joining a fellowship called Building Excellent Schools, and actually built a school, an elementary school in one of the areas there, like a charter school.
Now, how do you do that? How do you build a school?
It's hard. This one was, you can do it in a lot of different ways. It's like a business proposal, fundraising. There's a lot of ways. It's not easy, but there's a lot of ways. This one, I was approached by a fellowship, like a residency program.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they reached out to me and they said, hey, like, this is a high needs area. We see your history here. I was 25. Yeah, so I was like, oh, and interviewed, and then they take you through like a 2-year program. It is intensive. You travel the country, study schools, write proposals, build your board, fundraise, all that kind of stuff. It's kind of like an MBA program for education specific, like running a school. Yeah.
That is a lot.
Yeah. And I got married somewhere in there. So it was
great. And you were 25 when you did that.
When I started. Yeah.
So that ended up being what? So you ended up being like the principal of that school?
Yes, I was the executive director.
That's cool,
yeah, because essentially it's a mini business. I mean, a charter school, it was public. I know different states are different, but it was a completely free public school. And we applied to the district of Tulsa and said like, hey, can we open in your district and serve your kids, but with a different model? And so, yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
So now you're 25 on up.
Yep.
And so you got married when you were there?
Yeah, I got married right before I started the program. My lovely husband now is an angel, because before I started the program, I was like, hey, I feel called to do it. Like, it really was God. I was like, oh, I feel too young. The human side of me is like, I'm too young. I've only taught for a few years, all this. And God is like, nope, you're doing it. I was like, okay, so did it. And I literally said to Chris, I said, I'm going to do it because I know I need to. We weren't married. We were engaged at the time. I said, I'm giving you an easy out. Because the first 3 years of our marriage, I was on the road, I was gone, he was like holding it down and I was off doing my thing. And then even when I was home, we launched the school, which meant I was like sleeping in my office most nights, it was so fun.
Fun honeymoon. So, so you met him there?
Yeah, he's from Texas. He was working in Tulsa when I went to Tulsa. We both moved there, lived in the same apartment complex, like met at the pool, like literally.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So met him there, and yeah.
So now you have the school and you're doing the school thing for a while. And how does that go? And how did you transition out of that? What went on there?
I mean, it was incredible, right? Like, and I think, you mentioned earlier about like my consistency or always having, I always have a smile on. I will remember people's names. Actually, I'm better with faces than names, but I'm pretty good with names.
Okay.
But if you think about it, I mean, that's what I did for 5 years before coming here. My school, although public, was very much my ministry, right? Everything is. And I think that's why it was not as hard for me now to transition back out of it, because going into it, I just felt like that had been my families and my kids, and, breaking generational cycles and giving kids skills they wouldn't have otherwise, and talking to families that might not trust someone that looks like me or is from where I get it, but yeah, I think, it was incredible. My biggest thing, if anyone is listening and wants to go into education or thinking about that, is I believe that oftentimes, no matter what you believe about the education system, and I know that you guys are you're in a homeschool world, which I get it. Like, I understand why. Don't get me wrong. I was in a private school and public school growing up, so I understand it, but never homeschool. But I think a lot of people are well-intentioned in other underprivileged communities, but that is innate oppression, because they are well-intentioned and they lower the bar for certain communities because of where they come from. So if you lower the bar, you're innately oppressing people because you're not letting them rise to a standard that the rest of people are. And they're all well-intentioned. It's like good-hearted people. But I think my role in wherever I am is you actually have to still hold the bar, because that's actually out of love. Like, you only give people access to things if you actually are honest, hold the bar, push them, challenge them. And I think what's happened in a lot of places, not just education, is we just lower the bar for certain groups of people, and you're literally innately oppressing them, even if you don't think you are. Like, you're enabling them. So
it's interesting you say that, because I remember someone saying one time that, and I don't know if they're talking about kids or not, but they're talking about how people, like, in general, they raise to the level of your expectations of them.
Yeah.
So lowering the bar is like, hey, I really don't value or think too much of you, so I'm gonna let you stay down here.
Yeah. Or it's like, you don't think you don't value them, but you're like, I don't want to push you too hard. I don't want to. So it is like, I feel like most of it's well-intentioned. Some of it's not. Let's be honest. Like, we know everyone has different biases in our, like, it is how we're human. But I do think a lot of it is like, oh, I don't want to, you haven't eaten this morning, so let's not make you read.
Right.
Okay. But also, like, we do have free breakfast, and now you need to learn how to read so you can get better. Like, right. And so that is, I think that is something I've just, the first year I was teaching, remember, I'm from Connecticut, super good. I mean, in most places, super good there. I was reading at 3 and 4. Not everyone is, but like, I was in preschool in Connecticut, and I'm teaching preschool in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And, I have English language learners. Majority of my kids were either like from Mexico. It was just a huge mixed room. It was awesome. And I would, trying to be teaching them to read at 4, which to me, I was like, oh, I was. So let's go. And I would literally have my instructional coach come in and be like, oh, don't push them too hard. Like, it's okay. Like, they're just learning how to speak English. I'm like, wow. Usually I just don't listen. I mean, I'm a little bit of a challenger. So I was like, watch me. And literally 3 of my kids that year skipped kindergarten. And I was like, get out of here. And then went to 1st grade. And I was like, but, don't tell me I can't do something. I will.
But it's amazing how amazing people can be when you push them close to the edge. Because we really don't know how much we can do. We have no idea.
I know. And what we're capable of. We really don't.
And especially kids.
Oh, I know. They're so malleable and they're, our brains are not even developed until we're 25. So why do we waste time? Like, that's wild.
That is amazing. Now, so you get married.
Yep.
And you're still doing the school and everything. Yep. So how did you transition from that position?
Let me tell you, that was God and only God. I know most people don't have a burning bush moment and most people don't audibly hear God.
The burning bush moment.
Yeah, right. Like, it's true. Not everyone's waiting for this burning. Most people don't. Like, and that's okay. You gotta, that's why we have the Holy Spirit. We don't always have burning bushes. And I always tell myself that when I want God to talk to me. And I'm like, stop. I don't necessarily need a burning bush. Just listen to the Spirit. But this was audible. It was January 19. I thought I was going to be at the school. I'm a builder anyway. So I always knew I probably wouldn't be at the school forever. I build, and then go. And so
wait, so, okay, no, let's stop there for a second. So I knew you were a builder when you were 25 and they call you to come and build a school. So before that time, you could see like in your life that, hey, I start stuff, build stuff up, make sure it's running good, and then I transition.
Yep. Like even in college and things like that. So I don't think I knew a word. Let's be clear. I probably didn't know that that's how I thought about it back then.
But
I
looking back,
knew that was okay. That it was okay to not stay in something forever, even though it's so anti-traditional, like of the boomer, generation. There's no pensions anymore. Like, you know what I mean? So, but so I had always planned probably to transition, 7, 10. I was like, oh, I'll be here for a while and then figure out what's next. That's why and that's why I didn't even do a PhD program. So I was like, well, I don't want to be locked in here, another 5 years and whatnot. Earlier than I thought. I think I was there 4.5 years when this happened. It was January of 2019. I was actually visiting my sister in South Carolina at the time. Her and her husband moved down there. He was at Clemson and was staying there for like New Year's or whatnot. And I woke up audibly out of sleep and God was like, it's time. I mean, it's the only time I've audibly heard God's voice. And I was like, oh, are you sure?
You knew exactly what he was talking about?
Because I had been, you start to feel this like dissonance when you're in places like that this was my baby. I don't have any kids. Like, I don't have my own kids. And I think that is actually a gift for me in the worlds I've been in because I could give fully to my kids and families. And then when I went into ministry, kids, youth, all that, like I could always give because I didn't have and I'm an all-in kind of gal. So I don't think I do well being a mom and a principal because I really am like 10 toes in. I'm like, all in. So I don't know how that would roll. That's how I am. I'm like, oh, I'm a leaper.
10 toes in.
Yeah. And so he was like, it's time. I was like, but I had been feeling it like a little dissonance at work, which is weird because you build something and it's your baby. And like, I mean, we built just kindergarten. Now these kids were in 3rd and 4th grade. You're like, oh, they are all mine. They are. And gosh, a lot of them are graduating and now it's weird. But so I went back and I will say, I'm more obstinate as a human. I'm not as obstinate with God. So I literally went back and at the next board meeting, I gave him my resignation. I said we could do an executive search. So we had 5 months until the end of the year, May, the school year ends. So it wasn't like, rip the Band-Aid in peace. Like I'm not that type of transition. It's a huge deal. You have to do an executive search and all of that. And so.
But really, after you heard from God that time in the middle of the night, I mean, you were done.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I did talk to my husband probably. If you ask him, he probably has a different story. A leaper. I was like, hey, babe. Yeah. And I actually, and the call I think was, well, not I think, now you look back. But at the time, it was like, I need to get back to the East Coast. My parents are aging. My sister had her 2nd kid at the time. Now she has 3. I'm such a I'm Italian and Irish. So we are family oriented. It's just me and my sister. And so while I was there for Christmas and New Year's, and he was like, it's time. I was like, oh, that means it's time to get back. I didn't even know what my next job was supposed to be. I just knew I was supposed to be back here.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I handed in the thing. Well, I didn't know. I didn't have a job. Chris did not have a job. And he had a great job there. He was at University of Tulsa doing all their sports production, video, all the things. And
so y'all were there and the decision was made. So now you got to move back here. No job,
Yeah.
no
And
house,
we don't know
but
anyone. I'm
know
from
about to
Connecticut. I'm
do it.
not from here.
Right.
Right. So yeah, it was
My goodness.
great. We sold our house. Yeah, because we had a house there. We had both dogs. I mean, it was just our
It was
church.
perfect.
Yeah. It was. Yeah. And I actually just went back to Tulsa a couple weeks, maybe a month ago, 2 months ago now. And I just cried because I love like Tulsa. Tulsa's a hidden gem. So no one said anything bad about Tulsa. It is like this sweet little small city community. I'm obsessed with it. And some of my favorite people are still there. My first non-Catholic church, right? Like I'm not,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So like I transitioned out and was visiting churches and yeah. City Church Tulsa, shout out. They're incredible. And yeah, so Chris and I, well, he resigned much later. I at least had to give a heads up and do the executive search. We sold our house. I mean, I was applying to jobs, and let me tell you, I felt like I was pretty well positioned to get a job.
Yes.
I mean, I built, yeah, and it was a success. Like our first year, we outdid almost every other school in the area. I mean, like killed it. And so I was like, I'm an executive director. I'm like fundraising, budgeting, HR certified. Let me tell you, I got no's. I mean, I think I applied to like 50 places. It is insane. And that I know it's God. I roll my eyes sometimes. I'm like, quite humbling. I think I needed to be humbled a little bit. I did need to be humbled a little bit.
Okay.
So I actually think that was part of it too, is not necessarily, well, part of it was probably humbling, but my identity was very wrapped up in the school.
Okay.
Right. I knew it was my calling, and that's what I would use to mask it. I knew it was my mission field. But let me tell you, my identity was very much
wrapped up in the school.
Achievement, and not just the data, because I know it's more than data, but also, yeah, you got to do well. You know, the kids have to do well. Yeah. And so I think that was a actual spiritual, like, it's time. I didn't have any very close mentors that were super Christian. The program I went through was not at all. The school wasn't. I had a church and they were phenomenal. I mean, my pastor's there. I love them. I just saw them when I was back there. But like my mentors, when it came to business, none of them were Christian. And which is interesting now looking back, I'm like, oh, that's an alarming gap. Even my training program was very like human focused. Don't do this. Don't do this. Cover your tats. Like pull your hair back. Don't wear bright clothing. It was just, I mean, it would strip you of your like individuality.
Yeah.
Very business minded. Because I get it, right? Like it's a different industry.
Yeah.
But it did strip quite a bit away. And so my identity was very wrapped up. And I think that is the gift that this was. So yeah, I never wanted to work in a church.
But you didn't even apply to churches, did you?
No, I only applied to Elevation because my HR director at my church, at my school in Tulsa, had lived in Charlotte before she moved to Tulsa and had gone to Elevation. Loves it. She's from North Carolina, loves it. And I thought it was just a worship, like, you know, Elevation worship. And she's like, hey, they do have e-kids directors there, like at the campuses. You're coming from an elementary school, you ran an elementary program, you know, just like give it a shot. So there's two places that I like finalized interviews with, and it was the United Way, which makes sense, like nonprofits, right? And then Elevation and the e-kids role specifically, because I was like, if I just ran a school for 5 days a week, I can do a Sunday, like with my eyes closed, right? Like go ahead, which I thought, right? It's always so different. And yeah. And so actually United Way offered me the job first. And for some reason, God was like, no, it was like that dissonance thing where I was like, this should be the perfect job for me. Nonprofits, fundraising, like helping the whole city of Charlotte. And I said no. And then
you said no even before you got an offer from anyone else.
Yes. Yeah. It was, I mean, people think I'm crazy. But then again, if you are actually doing the Christian thing, most people are going to think you're a little crazy.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm like, okay. You know, my family like, what? My in-laws like, what? You just gave up. Yeah, it was crazy. And Chris didn't have a job either. So we had sold our house. We were moving either way.
Okay, so like, at this point,
this is May,
but you're still in Tulsa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the end of the school year is the end of May, right before Memorial Day, and no job, and we were moving. We had an apartment, we had everything, and 3 days.
But no job.
No job.
Okay.
And is that your?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna keep on talking until we get to the end of this, and then I'll switch it. So you're there, no job.
Yeah, so I had no job, and we were going. And then 3 days before we were leaving anyways, like it packed up, said our goodbyes. Literally, the house was sold. But yeah, LB at Elevation called me, offered me a job, and I was like, praise Jesus, because I said no to the other one. And yeah, we're already on our way. And so started in June of 2019.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a whirlwind. Yeah.
And so at this time, Chris still didn't have a job?
Oh no, he didn't have a full-time job for until February of the next year.
And then this is May.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I mean, I really think like large leaps of faith and difficult seasons. I mean, if you are truly listening to God, and I think I was a little far gone from the like spiritual alignment. That's why God had to get audible with me the first time because I knew it. I was like, I am not, my identity, right? So I think that's why he got audible with me in January.
Okay.
It's time. But then by that time I was like, well, I'm doing it. So I knew I was all in it then. So then when I felt like the Spirit's like, no, the United Way job isn't the right one, and then I was like, okay, we're going to go either way. Like we'll figure it out. And we did. So yeah, but it's good. It's good.
It's so cool. It's so cool. I mean, I see you around.
Right. Yeah.
But it's like, but with everyone I talk to, feel this.
Is it hot?
Yeah. Oof. It's like burning up. So I don't even know if it's the battery that ran out or if it's just overheated. Yeah. Because I'm gonna transition and start using another pad.
Yeah.
This I want to do this now. I'll do this one last time.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. Like you talk to people and you know people, but then you know other people,
right?
And then you like get into the story. Like what?
It is so fun.
And then, but it's amazing about how much stuff goes into people for them to be who they are, like 2025. That's a lot.
That's why I think this for some people are like, how you doing? How you doing? I'm like, actually, I'm okay because this isn't even as crazy thing this isn't the craziest thing I've ever done.
Right.
So, when people are like, oh, are you good? I'm like, actually, yeah, because there have been other times in my life where I've said yes to much crazier seasons.
I mean,
I know.
Well, because you're easy to talk to, so it's like whatever.
And I think now, since I know I know not all of it we've hit, but like I've tried to weave in like, all right, if I have one thing to say, or that I know kind of what content you want, so or at least what points. But we'll hit some of the more specific ones.
Okay, so this is good. So, what do you believe every young person who is interested in going into ministry should understand about servant leadership? Because you've been doing that all your life. So I mean, like a young person that really wants to get into it, what do you think?
Well, even to back up, I mean, if you truly, this sounds so cheesy, but like if you are a Christian, I feel like that is how you should view every role. So whether or not you even want to go into ministry, formal ministry, because I do think just like the disciples, I mean, everywhere we go should be ministry field, right? Like it's your mission field.
Yeah. So you're not turning on, turning off.
No.
You're just on. No. That's just who you are.
And I think that's the root of it. Like even when I was at the church and we had interns or apprentices and things like that, you could really tell the difference of a young person who was super aligned in the Spirit because they were the same.
Yeah.
And that is what matters. Like most people know me, fully me, because I am the same human behind, like at home that I am or was at church and am on my client calls, And I just think it's interesting. I think too often we put boxes and labels and things around people and titles and roles, and or if people say they want to be in ministry, they feel called to ministry, but they don't get the church job right away. They're like, oh, I feel called to ministry. I'm like, well, go do ministry. Like, go do it. And honestly, I think about it. I was never I really, truly never wanted to work at the church. Like I was raised Catholic. I was like, well, women aren't allowed up there anyways, right? In the Catholic church. So that's one of the main reasons I left. But two, but also I was like, oh, I am doing the work. Like I had my kids and my families and my missions trips and things. So I never needed to work at church. I think that's probably what actually made me more hireable when I, and not saying you have to do other things, but the fact that I was in the world and working with people and serving people in any capacity without the title, I think made it a lot easier for people to tap me and be like, we want you here. And that is even what I was told when I was, asked if I wanted to be ordained and go through that process. Right? Like, are you kidding? I'm like, I'm used to MBAs, PhDs, right? Like med school, boards, like ordination, never on my list, right? And people are like, oh, you're an ordained pastor. I'm like, yeah, but I actually think it's because I lived my life like a disciple maker and not... Right. And so, and I didn't go for that. That should never be the goal. The title's never the goal. The label should never be the goal. Learned that the hard way at my school when I started to get my identity too wrapped up in that. Yeah. But I think that's actually what I would say the most is, you feel called to ministry. You better start doing ministry everywhere.
That's good.
And then, and then it will come. Yeah. Yeah.
I like that.
Thanks. Wow. Learned that the hard way though. So I hope you guys are listening and don't make all the same mistakes,
I like just ministry everywhere, but it's always about just living life and talking to people.
Yeah.
Like, who are you really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're not, if you're not a minister in like life, then it's not going to be authentic when you turn it on, when you go to church, and especially with kids.
Oh,
kids will know.
you better believe they know. Oh, they'll size you right up and they'll look at you like I'm like, sit down. No, I'm not playing. Like, I love Jesus, but I also love quiet, and so, yeah. And like, if I'm teaching the Bible to people, right? Like, I'm reading scripture or I'm talking, I mean, your daughter was in my youth group at one point. And let me tell you, I would be honest to a point. You don't want to be too honest, but like, you think they're going to believe me when I say, oh, don't do this and don't do this, if I don't also talk about like the mistakes, what I learned the hard way, also what God spoke to me, what the Bible says, how we shouldn't feel ashamed of it's like, y'all can't stay in a bubble forever and think you can then be pastors to pastor people who are going through life that you've never lived.
That's good.
You got to get out of your bubble. And I'm not saying you have to work out of your bubble, but you need to get out of your bubble because how are you going to pastor people?
Right. Because certain people I might not be the best one for prison ministry.
Right.
Because I haven't been in prison and I haven't been in those circles, whatever. But there are certain people that have been in those circles and now they're ministers, whatever, and they're perfect for prison ministry. We just got a guest to join us.
We did. My little dog, Memphis. She really likes going to work with me. So sorry, she got out of Dad's office upstairs.
That is so cool. That's fine.
The other thing is, I will say this, like you just mentioned about prison ministry, it is interesting. I've never been to prison, but I also love prison ministry. And you know what? I think, and I will say with what I just said, you got to get out in the world so you can pastor people who are living in the world.
Yes.
But also, just because you haven't experienced the same exact thing doesn't mean you can't also still pastor people. So I do want to say that. I think, my best friend was homeschooled Alabama, like married young. She is the youth pastor at the church now. And she was like raised in a bubble. Okay. And so for a while, I think she kind of felt even possibly a little insecure, as like, you can connect with all these people because you've lived this life and I haven't. I'm like, yes, but also be authentically you, be honest about it. It's the same when I went into teaching. I am a white woman from Connecticut. So teaching inner city kids in Tulsa of color. Yeah. Okay. No, I don't know everything but teach me. I'm open. I want to learn. So there is also that. You just have to be open to.
Yeah. The openness.
Yeah. You have,
I think that's
you have to understand what people are going through. Like, I do prison ministry regularly. I love it. And I've never been there. And I say that to them. Like, I don't actually know what you're going through, but what I will say is, like, I see you, you are human, you are loved. Right. And so, like, you can do that anywhere, but you just have to get out there. You can't be in your bubble. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's pause real quick. I didn't do my clap thing last
night. It's
okay.
You don't need to. I mean, you don't really need to, but it's just helpful.
Oh, I just heard a vibrate.
Might have.
So I was wondering, I put on Do Not Disturb. So it might be yours.
Yeah, it might have been.
I thought it was this thing here. Okay.
Chris, do you have her? Yeah, she definitely did.
She heard your voice.
Well, it's funny. She did clearly need water, but she came in here first. Let me tell you. It's fine.
So parents listening, let's say they feel like their child is called into ministry. And I love what you said about, like, you're just doing ministry everywhere.
But if you want to work at a church.
Just ministry everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
So what would you say to a parent that feels like their child is called at a young age into ministry? When I say young age, I mean middle school, high school, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, what would you say to a parent?
Well, one, be careful of labels. Right? Because we can see something, you can call things out in people, but also I think part of why I never wanted to be the principal or the pastor is because my mom was like, I think you're going to be right. And I was like, no, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a singer. So I do think, parents, it's okay. Your kids do love you, but also most of them are stubborn and obstinate in some sort of way, and you're still their parent. So just know that. And number one, this sounds Christianese, but you got to pray pray over them, for them, with them, and just pray that it will be revealed.
Over them, for them,
and with
them.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Yes. I think a lot of times we there's always one of them that we're not as good at or whatnot. So I do think that is, and remember, prayers can be specific or really general. Like, I see this in them, please show us how it's going to come to fruition. Because like I said, I think I was just as much a pastor when I was a principal as I was a pastor. But I think the other thing is, just start exposing kids to opportunities, and not even just mission. I mean, missions is incredible. It also takes a lot, and it, long time, and you have to fundraise and stuff, but service opportunities and outside, I just think outside of your bubble, I can't even say that enough. I think it is just one of my platforms and one of my rocks that I just believe you cannot serve people unless you understand somewhat diversity, different communities, marginalized communities. If you are going to be in ministry, you're going to serve all kinds of people, and you need to. And so you need to have a heart for people who are super broken, even if you have lived a really privileged life, and that is okay. It is not something to be ashamed of. I was for a really long time. I dealt with this shame and guilt. I'm like, why? Just because I didn't grow up super poor or didn't have to go through some of this stuff. But then you also have to take on the responsibility. Ignorance is a choice.
Wow.
It's a choice.
Okay.
And I believe that.
Yeah.
I think that is my social justice soapbox. But I think as Christians, like we are even more called to not be ignorant. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I think the best thing that any Christian parent can do for kids, no matter what, but specifically if they see this ministry calling, expose your kids.
Get them out of the bubble.
Like you got to make sure they know people of different backgrounds, races, right? Age. I mean, everything. Yes. Homeschooling specifically, we're talking the homeschooling community. And I think that can either be a bubble or it can be really great because you get to experience life in different ways. So I know there are benefits, but I know people say things and they're like, oh, it can be super bubble.
Yeah, it can.
I get it. And it's kind of hard, but
once again, just like you said, it's a choice.
Yeah, it is a choice. Right. And so I've seen it done really well too. And so, yeah, I think that my biggest thing is exposure and diversity of like mindsets, thoughts. I mean, if you keep your kids in this, and, bubble I use a lot, but like even in a specific mindset or way of thinking, and you don't even expose them
like a bubble mindset even.
Yeah, it's like you don't expose them to why people think a certain way or do a certain thing. It doesn't mean you agree with it, but you do need to understand the why. To like understand the heart of people, you have to understand like their background, how they grew up, why they're so angry. Like I said, even going back to when I was teaching, like, yeah, there were some scary moments where I've been threatened before and things, but also honestly, my heart, I just kind of felt bad. I'm like, my heart kind of breaks for you that you are a parent and you
are that angry with me about this, knowing that I'm in a position
and
to
help your kid. I think, I don't think I would have made it years if I didn't take that approach. And that can be the same with ministry. Think about it. We are pastoring people that sometimes don't want to be pastored, will resent us, leave after a while, even after you pour into them and go to a different church or just leave church all. And you actually have to be okay with that. And you have to know humans are human. So I think the more you can actually talk about the realness of that and what the world is made of, not that we have to be in it or of it. We don't have to be of it. We should be in it.
Yes.
How are we supposed to spread the gospel if we're not? So I think that's something I just think for parents is so important.
So practically speaking,
yeah,
I'm a parent, I have kids. What would you suggest? Like, let's say mission trips is a little big.
Yeah.
But like in our own city, like what could parents start? What situations could they start putting their kids in?
Truly, well, one, like look at the places you're going. So when it comes to diversity and like social aspects, look at the places you're going for fun things like events, concerts, picnics, I don't know, like community food truck fairs in the spring in the park, all that kind of stuff. Like, where are you going that there's different people or a mix of people and it's not just a Christian event, right? I'm sorry. If you're going to spread the gospel, you can't be talking to just Christians.
Yeah.
So, one, where are you going for like family outings? Of course, you're not going to expose your kids to things but I mean, hello,
not dangerous stuff, but just stuff.
Or like really crude things or whatnot. Right. But yeah, like where are you going that isn't just by your church or by your church group? Go get out. And there's farmers markets and all like really fun things. And then are they a part of different sports or different clubs or things like that aren't just with the homeschool community? Or maybe it is, but even that, if it's diverse enough or feels good. So that's like very practical from a experiential standpoint. And then your kids should always be serving in some capacity.
Okay.
And that actually doesn't just mean at church. Like you don't have to, maybe church Sundays isn't the thing, and don't say, sorry, Elevation, but but I also do get that.
Yeah. And outside the church and outside the home.
Yeah.
Serving somewhere.
Yes. So like, I do think the root of where a lot of my heart for people and understanding people came from is actually serving with Special Olympics. Like when I was very young, middle school. And so I would go and I would, run an event or be like a mini ref or, a support or like be a one-on-one support for kids or people that were participating in the Special Olympics. And and like all these people with different disabilities and things like that. I was exposed super young age, right? And you're like, people are different, but they're also still humans and they're also God's children, right? Like they're all made in the image of God. So I think serving, and I actually do think serving outside of the church, outside the home is the most important because that is where you actually serve people. I actually haven't in a while, but I used to always have even like little lunch bags and snack bags in my car just for people on the streets, like, homeless. Like I don't give them money often, but I usually give them like food or and things like that. So even looking and practicing looking people in the eye, everybody, right? Like everyone is human. So
wow.
Yeah. So I think that's just all those things.
That's big. That's a lot of little nuggets. And one thing I want to add and ask, I told you the story before we started recording. I told you the story about I was in the class full of kids and I said, do you all talk to strangers?
Yes, yes.
And they all were like, no. And they didn't even see the importance of talking to strangers. And then I'm thinking about with us in ministry, if we don't talk to strangers, then we're really not. What are we doing?
We're missing the mark.
Yeah, that's the whole point. So I like the fact of getting kids out of the bubble, but even you mentioned like the mental bubble.
Yeah.
The mental bubble of if I don't know you and you're not a Christian, then I really don't have to you.
You're not the same political, even if you're a Christian, but you believe different political views. If you why? Cancel culture is killing Christianity.
Wow.
Killing it. It is literally the antithesis of what we're supposed to do as Christians. So as much as I understand, let me be clear, I'm also very social justice oriented. I understand all of these movements and why people feel the way they do, right?
Yeah.
Like I truly do. And people can fight me all day. Like I understand the Me Too movement. I understand Black Lives Matter because it actually these are groups of people that haven't been listened to or heard. So it is our understanding. It's our role as a Christian to understand that.
The why.
You have to.
Not what we see on TV, but the why behind.
Stop watching news. Like, just stop. Both sides. I don't care what side you're on. It's all right. Like it's all, and every person is a person. And we just need to stop us assigning people with political parties or a belief or a protest or what they have on the back of their car, like the bumper sticker, hashtag, whatever. Like y'all, cancel culture is ridiculous. Also, cancel culture is the opposite of redemption, which is what we are supposed to believe about people. Hello. You don't want a second chance. Every sin is the same, y'all. So go ahead. Try me. Like you think that sin is worse than what you do behind closed doors or in your mind?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just crazy.
But once again, this goes back to our comment about turning ministry on and off.
Yeah.
Like
you can't.
Like Christ the Redeemer. Yes, I understand that. Because when I'm in church and when this, but when we're talking about political stuff, so much.
I saw a slight tangent, but it is good. I mean, parents, kids to think about this, like what you put on your lawns, on your Facebook, on your Instagram, what you post most about is what people know most about you.
Yeah.
Right. So you think about you're driving through someone's yard or like the neighborhood and you see all these political things and there's not a cross in sight. Like, do you want the first thing people to associate about you be your political party or be the movement or be what you wear or be, I'm actually all about travel. I post a ton about travel, but I also will still post my Bible reading time and my, it's like my job is travel, but I am okay. If my clients aren't Christian, I'm good, but I'm good when they know I'm Christian.
Yeah.
Right. Like Jesus follower. Hello. Yeah. That's the first, thing you should know about me. Everything else is great and different gifts that he's given me.
Yeah. I heard someone talking about social media the other day. I think it was directed towards young people.
Okay.
But they were talking about how if someone looks like your Facebook profile, Instagram, all that stuff, it should clearly attract certain people and repel other people. So if you're a Christian and you like basketball, you like exercise, people should be to look at that and see it.
Absolutely.
Don't have stuff on your Instagram or whatever where it's like you like partying and going out to clubs or you like, I don't know, digging ditches, whatever.
Right.
And that's not who you are.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Have an accurate depiction of who you are because whatever you put there is going to attract a certain.
Absolutely. Yeah. All these girls that out there think like, oh, we're the good guys. I'm like, well, what are you posting on your socials? You think, okay. I mean, I'm so sorry. So that's the youth leader in me, the little gals. I'm like, ladies, I love you. And do I wear a crop top every once in a while? For sure. But you don't see me like posting my, it's crazy. It's like, people might not think this is right, but I am a feminist. Like I actually do believe in equality for women.
Okay.
And we can go biblical on that all day because that word helper actually in the Bible is not how most men interpret it, but it actually means quite warrior. But I think it is not fair. Even it's different groups of people, women and stuff. We are all created in God's image. Now we have different callings, but we are equal. And I think that's when I say ignorance is a choice and it is not up to women to dress a certain way. So men don't, whatever. It's not, but it's also not the same for men and women and all of it. And I think you need to know who you are in God, female, male. You want to go into ministry, great, but you have to be a Christian everywhere, right? Like, are you a Christian first? Yes. You're male, female. Yes. And then, okay, everything else is a gift and that's great. But your identity, and your identity isn't even in your name. It's not even in your upbringing. It's not even in your parents. Like I did the DNA, the ancestry DNA. That's great. But also okay, cool. I'm Italian and Irish. Does that mean I can have a temper? Yeah, wow. Actually it does. Right. Like I did used to use a little Irish temper coming out in my Italian attitude. What?
Yeah.
That's
and good.
And so it's just funny. It's like, if our identity is in one being in God, then that's what should be reflected everywhere. That also is how we should treat each other, period. You can have safe boundaries. You can have boundaries, but you cannot be dismissive. And I just, there's a difference.
Talk to us for a little bit about being dismissive and how destructive that is.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of is in that cancel culture. It's also kind of the like, oh, I'm keeping myself safe, so I'm not going to go here. Granted, you can be safe. That's why I say boundaries. Like, be safe. Don't be stupid. I probably am a little more unsafe. I put myself in situations, they say don't hug the people in the maximum security prison. I do. Like, if a woman is weeping, I hug them. And as I said, if I go down here, I feel like I'm going straight to heaven. Like, that's okay. That's all right. But dismissive is not looking someone in the eye, and they are a human, right? Like that's like, ignoring someone is dismissive. Canceling someone is dismissive. Sure. If you need to cut someone out of your life because they are so bad for you or they are a temptation, do the things, but you don't ghost people. Ghosting people is dismissive, right? Like, and that's a young people's term, but you explain the why. You tell people clarity is love. Yeah. Right. And so,
and you're intentional about your decision.
Yes.
And they know it and you know it.
Absolutely. Yeah. They don't have to receive it and they might not. Like you can't control the other person, but you absolutely are in control of your words and where you look and how you acknowledge people and how you treat people like humans and equal humans, not less than. Wow. And so that is like when I think dismissive, I'm like, no, you can have boundaries. Absolutely. Even as a pastor, there's a time I can't pick up every phone call. I can't, you can't, but you should not ignore, not be dismissive, not treat people as less than, because you are not better.
That's good. Yeah. I think we did so much. Let's jump over to traveling. Yeah. Your favorite thing.
My favorite thing right now. Yeah. Right now. I say right now because, who knows? Yeah, every 5 to 6 years seems to be for me that I like get a bug.
This is a good one. So I'm with kids periodically, but there are a lot of kids that are creative and they think they want to be an entrepreneur, start a business or whatever. Like, what types of things do they need to really work on within themselves in order to venture out and do some of the things that you've done?
Yeah, I mean,
and let me preface that with this. I was talking to a gentleman a few days ago, and he intentionally in his ministry with youth, he's working on raising up leaders.
Absolutely.
Like, intentionally. Yeah. I'm not raising you just to know God's word. Yeah. I'm raising you
to lead others.
Yes. So talk about that entrepreneurship and what you think young people should be working on and thinking about.
Yeah, I mean, one is it is not easy. And I just think that like nowadays it seems like everyone can do their own thing or whatnot. Anyone can start, but to last is a different story. Yeah. And so I do think that we do live in a world where anyone can start some type of side hustle or some, but it will not last if you don't understand the key principles. I think there is also a difference between leadership. You can teach people leadership principles, but business principles is not always just leadership, right? You have to understand like structure, longevity, follow-up, just cycles of client, like the client's always right? Like that type of, there are, and that's the thing is, I think we, as Christians, sometimes we lean a lot towards Christian leadership, which is super important because yes, we should lead ourselves like Christian. How do we care for other people? How do we lead other people? But we also, there is a world in which if you want to run some type of entrepreneurial side hustle business, you actually do need to understand business principles. And so, yes, read Jim Collins, like read John Maxwell, like you actually need to understand
some foundational principles.
Yes. Do like understand budgeting and financing and long-term goal planning, strategic planning. Anyone can launch like a bracelet making thing out of their house or, and it's so great. And I love that people are doing it. I would say do it while you're young, try it, learn, fail, go broke, because now is the time,
when you're young.
Do it now. And, so I would say, and get around people that do it. So, who at your church runs a business, leads a business, go work for people. The thing is, you can start anything, but if you have never worked under someone before,
you really don't know what it takes.
You're really going to learn the hard way, and you still will learn the hard way because that's how we learn best. We fail and we fail forward and we learn, but you do need to be around it. You need to read about it. There are business things that you should I went through an intensive 2-year training before launching my school and it was full time. So it wasn't like, you're like, how'd you do that? I'm like, yeah, you could do it. You could do it by yourself. But I was lucky enough to be in a program and it was intensive. And so I think anyone can start anything, do it, learn, figure it out, sell things, advertise, like make your money, reinvest your money, but then, be around people that know it and do it well.
Yeah.
Make sure you're Christian. Like there is something about leadership. Like there is a Christian. If you're going to be Christian, you need to know how to lead people well and beautifully and, kindly and with integrity as a Christian. And that, you're not cutting corners, you're not being shady. And then you should actually study it. Like, you don't have to go to school for it. I was psychology, neuroscience. I mean, have I used it? Yeah. But like, I haven't actually worked in any of those industries, but I have
Well, like you
studied.
said, ignorance is a choice.
Yes.
So like,
yeah,
there
study.
are plenty of books on business.
Hello.
So like, pick one up
Free
and read it.
library. You don't even have to buy them.
Yeah.
I literally have Libby online, which is free. And I listen to audiobooks all the time. Like while I'm showering, while I'm doing laundry. Hello. Ignorance is a choice. It is one of my mottos. But yeah, don't live in the bubble. Get out. Yeah, learn.
So parents should really, if their kids say they want to do a little something, get them some books.
Yeah.
But one of the things I love that you said was put them in the atmosphere of someone that's actually running a business, doing well, and just let them serve.
Yeah. The other thing is like, just let them do it at a certain point. Like, of course, there's no harm in if I'm selling, I don't know. I mean, people used to like flip baseball cards and stuff, like way back in the day. So like definitely let them do it at a young age. As they're getting older, you have to be careful because the moment they're over 16 or 18, like taxes come. I mean, truly, you got to be smart about it when you're a certain age, but let them do it. Like, let the kids have the lemonade stand. Let the kids sell the Girl Scout cookies. Because really, if you think about it, that is getting, you're working that muscle and it feels good. Like every sale, it's so fun. So yeah, let them do that. But then, be smart about it. And also, the other thing is don't shove things down their throat.
Don't make them do it.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Let them ask about it. Do one at a time. But I will say Jim Collins and John Maxwell are top tier. Yeah.
So, travel agency.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. There are thousands or millions of travel agencies out there, whatever.
Yeah.
So what makes you different from all the other agencies up the street?
Ooh,
what's so special? Yes.
Yeah, it's funny. I think like you probably hear other people say this. I will say mine is I truly want to create like an experience that's authentic to the individual. Okay. So, and I'm sure there are other great agents that do that out there, but what I tend to experience is people that just like look up the places that they have partnerships with, and they send them to a resort and that's it. Right. Cause you're like, okay, here's a good deal, whatever. I spend time. I have a consult meeting with every one of my people. I have a really in-depth form that I have people fill out. And in
order to know more about them.
Yeah. I want to, and how they like to travel or what because sometimes a trip is for something versus another trip. So, it could be different. And now don't get me wrong. If you want to go on a cruise and you know where you want to go, just let me know and I'll book the cruise for you. I'll probably find you a better deal and I will represent you. Because I do think there is a part of travel that people who are planners themselves will book their own travel. But if you are an individual and something goes down, you have no backing behind you. So on one hand,
what does that mean?
Yeah. So I mean, think about it. Like I am a travel agent, but I'm part of an umbrella agency. So to be a licensed certified travel agent, you actually do need to be, it's like an IATA or a CLIA number. They're, jargon, but you have to be under a number that travel professionals, hotels, rental car agencies, cruises, they have your number and they're like, okay, you have like taken the right classes. You are vouched for, you can represent your client. So I'm under an umbrella. So if something goes down, an individual who books themselves is always going to get bumped first, get whatever. I mean, hotels overbooked. It's like you can, but if you're actually booked under a travel agent with an agency, they're much less likely to mess with you because you actually have a backing and a representation. Also, if something does go down, guess who gets to handle it? I do, not you. So I think like that's it. I think people forget there is still value in even just having travel agent representation.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know any of that you just said.
Yeah, so, exactly. Yeah. And right now, so now that I'm transitioning, I'm trying to educate people. I'm like, hey, if you cruise all the time and you don't have someone booking it, let me book it. Yeah, well, I make commission for sure, but that's just extra money you're letting them have anyways, because they pocket anything that travel agents don't book. Yeah. It's not like you get it back.
So it's like, I'm spending money anyway. Yeah, but now I have someone that's actually on my side as I'm spending the same money I was spending anyway.
And when it's for like resort, like all inclusives, cruises, flight packages, like hello, that's $0 to you because I will make commission off of your booking. Now, but my other like niche specialty. So I do that all the time. I represent people. I just booked like 5 cruises the other day. Like insane. Okay. It's super fun. Hawaii, Alaska, Italy is really great.
My wife wants to do a Mediterranean.
I've just done a ton of research on that because I have a couple that's doing Barcelona to Rome. They're doing that. And then they are getting out. And then I'm planning a trip for them in Italy for a week, like an extension trip. So the other niche that I have is custom trips. And so that's for like the adventurer. And that's, and that's like that's my side of things.
Okay. So explain that to me.
Yeah. Well, when I was 16, I went with a friend. Her dad worked part-time in England. So that's why like they had a house there in Connecticut. So that was a little different. We had a place to stay. It wasn't like we were out on our own. We knew where we were going. Yeah. When I was 20, 23, 24. A friend and I, different friends, rented a car in Ireland and just drove around for a week, like literally. And some of them we didn't even know where we were staying. We'd like drive into a small town in Ireland, because those are my favorites, and just ask, oh, where's like a B&B? Where should we stay? Things like that. Now, I plan more than that, but I like finding places off the beaten path. We're like the non-overly touristy areas. So one of my favorite things is letting people like, now, you want to see the Colosseum, go, like, let's get you to the Colosseum. But then let's have you drive through Tuscany instead of training to Florence, and actually like staying at a local winery or like a little farmhouse, like with the owners, and like experiencing all of that. So that is like my niche. Custom trips are like my specialty. I will represent people all day, however they want to travel. But I take, now that it's like I get paid to do the research for that, because it's not just I won't necessarily make commission. I will find you a bed and breakfast that doesn't work with travel agencies, so when you work with a travel agent, a traditional one, most of them only book you at places that they can get commission. When I plan custom trips, I am not just working with vendors. I want to find you the hidden gems.
So you're like making a call to a place. Hey,
absolutely. Hey, I'm going to say, and most of the time they're like, oh, we don't pay travel, because they don't. They're like a mom and pop. It's their home. People stay with them. They're not going to pay me 10%. Right. But I'm going to book you anyway. So I do get paid. Like, people pay me to plan those trips for them. But oh my gosh, they're magical. I've done them myself. I've planned a ton of them. I actually am working on 3 different Italy trips right now.
For you or for other people?
No, for other people. One, there's a Spain one, 3 Italy. I have a Japan one. They're leaving next week or next month. Yeah.
So really, to summarize this a little bit, if I'm traveling anywhere,
you should probably just let me.
I should have.
Absolutely.
I should have a travel agent.
Yeah. I've been thinking about offering like even my my services to like small businesses, just to do their travel bookings that can't like afford like a full-time, big companies have people that do it. But I'm like, guys, you need to just let other people do it, and that I can say, hey, yeah, this is a business, this is a client, this is whatever. It's a travel hack. Even you'll see it on TikTok. If you call an airline and they like bumped you or something, if you say you're trying to reschedule for yourself, they don't take as good care of you. If you say you're someone's assistant or a travel agent, they take very different care of you.
Really?
It's a real thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, you can't always guarantee they have something, but they are more likely to work with you because you have,
So let me ask you this. So let's say I want to go on a cruise.
Yeah.
And I want to go on a cruise on Virgin.
Yeah.
Then I just say, hey, these are my dates. These are my dates, so this is where I want to go. And then you just take care of everything.
Literally everything. No, I'll send you back final quotes. I will. I actually have a cruise form specifically. It's like, do you like this beverage package? Do you whatever? So you fill that all out. I pull final quotes. If you like it, it's great. I literally, you fill out a credit card authorization form. It is very secure. And and I will put the deposit down, and then will follow up. I'll keep an eye on things.
So I don't do anything but just check my email from you.
I mean, truly. And then you get on your app, because every cruise has an app. And of course you want to be on it. You know the themes for the nights or whatever. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. That's it.
Now, what if I want a plane trip I want to fly out to Seattle?
Yeah. So I will, it's funny. I don't actually book. Well, I can book flights for you. I don't make commission. No one makes commission on flights unless it's wild. I will literally find you a hotel. If you want to like stay at a hotel, you want to stay at Airbnb.
Oh, hotel. Probably.
Yeah, probably. It's funny. I like Airbnbs only for certain things. Also, they don't work with travel agents, and it's rude.
Airbnb?
Yeah. And you know how much they upcharge you for their services, and they still don't pay commission? It's insane.
Oh,
yeah, I'm not that happy with Airbnb right now, but and there's a lot of similar things that you can work with. But yeah, so basically I'll research hotels for you within your budget. I'll send you back a list, tell me what you want, I'll book it, and then I'll send you flight things. And if you want me, so I do have a fee, like if you want me to book everything for you, you can. Like I'll even book your flights if you give me all your info, and I have a small fee for that. But then otherwise I'll send you, this is your best flight, book it now on your American app or whatever, and I'll book the hotel for you.
Yeah. Well, what's the most challenging things, I would say? Because if I'm flying out to Seattle, of course I don't know Seattle.
Yeah.
So then I'm just going around looking at different hotels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And for example, I might know that I want to go here, and I don't really know how far that hotel is from there.
Right.
And it might be a hotel right next door, and all the pictures online look good.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like it's like hours of trying to look at a hotel and those specifics and everything. If someone that actually likes doing that stuff,
yes, I do. And the more I do it, the more I'm familiar with areas, whether I've traveled there or not. Because even if my clients have, right? So I'm like, oh, and then give me feedback. So I do have a feedback form I now send. It's like, hey, what was good? What things to think about if I'm sending someone there next time? Oh yeah, all of it. And that is the thing. Like I have, my maps on Google. I can put the things. I even like comb through reviews just to make sure. You got to look at like when a hotel was recently refurbished, all the things, right? You only look at the reviews from the last 3 to 6 months. You don't look, the overall reviews, all of that. So that's what I do. Yeah. Yeah.
So let me tell you about a situation I had. I've had a couple. One of the situations was we showed up at a Sandals in St. Lucia.
Okay.
And, everything was great because I'm talking to I booked it myself. So I talked to the people resort myself.
Yep.
So we show up and the butler picks us up and takes us to the camera shut off again. I think it overheated, but whatever. So the butler takes us to the room, and as soon as, they try to do this grand entrance of the room, they open the door and say, hey, here's your room. So we walk out when I'm still standing at the door. So Dwana walks in and walks straight through the living room and looks out the window, and like there's like a construction guy right outside the window. Maybe we're on I'll say maybe second floor, and he's right down, and he's doing something. They're doing construction right outside our window. And then Dwana walks over there and is like, no, this is not going to work. And then I look over at a guy and say, well, we can't have this.
Right.
And so it's like, it would have been nice to know that, hey, they're doing construction.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're going to make sure that we put you on the 6th floor.
Right, so that you don't.
Yeah. So so he ended up moving us. So we didn't even stay one night there. So they went and moved us and everything.
Yeah.
But it's little things like that that we didn't really have anyone working on our behalf. So we would just do whatever they say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like you actually got lucky. I do have Sandals membership, and they really are good. So even if me as your travel agent, say I booked it for you, didn't actually know about the construction, which usually I do, right? But if they weren't great, then that's when I make a call and I'm like, oh no. Like, and then you don't have to worry about like, you guys go get a drink at the pool. I'm gonna take care of it. Now they did move you, and Sandals is known for, they are known. They're
great. Yes.
No, they are.
Yeah.
But not every hotel
place is. So also, if that happened and I wasn't with Santa or somebody else, then I could like call you.
Oh yeah.
Like back
shoot
here.
Me a text. Oh yeah.
And you'll get on the phone like, hey, what y'all doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. If you ask initially, I always tell people like, don't just call me. Like first ask.
Say
like you don't need to call me right away. If they do change it for you, it's great. But then if like, oh, I'm sorry, then you text me. And it's like, okay. I mean, there was one time that I had someone leave even the resort they were at and go to 2 resorts down. Yeah. Yeah. I was like, fine. No, we will get your money back. It's on your credit card. You'll whatever. And you go and I'm going to rebook you.
Somewhere else. Okay.
Yeah. That doesn't happen as much. I mean, but if you have to, I'll strong arm you all day.
So the other thing, we went to Costa Rica.
I love Costa Rica.
Janelle's there on
a mission trip.
A mission trip. Yeah. So went to Costa Rica. And my thing, once I started doing my little YouTube research of Costa Rica, I'm like, I want to see some animals.
Yeah,
this is gonna be
those
cool.
Monkeys will throw poop at you, though.
I know. Well, I still.
I know. No, I was under them. I'm just saying they will throw poop at you.
So we went there and we did whatever we did, and I didn't see animals.
You did?
I did.
Did you get off the resort?
Oh, and I didn't go to the resort. I was at like a little hotel in downtown Costa Rica. So I was around all like the.
Were you in San Jose though?
San Jose. But no, I flew into San Jose.
Yeah.
And then we went to, I don't know, I'll have to tell you where we went to. Yeah. We were saying nice hotel, nice, quiet, not too many people, wonderful. And we even went on like a horseback ride through the jungle and everything.
Yes,
but once again, this is me looking up stuff and doing everything myself and looking at 20 million YouTube videos saying, hey, if you're staying a week in Costa Rica, I'm not staying a week.
Right.
So once again, that would have been a great situation to have someone working on my behalf to say, hey, you want to see alligators?
Right.
Okay, well then you need to stay here and you need to do this.
And that is exactly what I do. Yeah, that's exactly. Man, we actually went to Costa Rica. We obviously didn't take a honeymoon because of, the school right away. But 3 years later, we took our honeymoon and we went to Costa Rica and it was the best.
That's what everyone says.
I love
Everyone
it.
says that's like the best like getaway vacation.
And it's great for a relaxer and a resort lover. It's also great for an adventurer, right? Like I was ziplining over volcanoes. But then I was like sitting at the resort. We were ATVing under the little monkeys. I was like, he's going to throw his poop at me. Like literally, or like ATV mudding. And then, I'm like, oh, please don't throw it at me. Just be cute, So I saw a sloth. A mama sloth with a baby sloth. It was so great.
I heard the sloths are so cool.
I love sloths. I have a picture of me feeding a sloth, mouth. I literally have a snap pea in my mouth and like fed a sloth. It was crazy.
No way.
Yeah. I know I'm a little risk taker, but it's fine.
That's cool.
The same sloth slowly took the hat off of my brother-in-law. Like literally, it's like
they move really like that.
Yeah.
So like you vacation. What's like an exciting vacation that you've been on that's like priceless? You would do it again. I mean, is it Costa Rica or are you one of those people that you don't do repeat vacations? You just want to go
Yeah. So
places.
I feel like, so after I went to Italy, I wanted to live there. I still do. Like my hope is that I can remote work and live in different countries for like a couple months at a time. So that is my hope. I think for the adventurer, Costa Rica is like the best I've been. I know there's other places, but it is the top of where I've been.
Yeah.
Italy is still my favorite country, and I've been to quite a few. Oh,
And why is that?
Switzerland was amazing.
Oh, why Italy?
Italy, it is not, well, okay. If you're a luxe traveler, you know, you go to Prague or you know, certain places, or Switzerland, but Italy had everything. The people were the kindest, most welcoming. I mean, and I'm a culture lover.
Yeah.
Ironically, they're some of the most unchurched countries, but they are the most community driven, loving, generous people. Is a very interesting dynamic. They have gorgeous beaches in the best, I mean, it's Italy, some of the best food, right? And wine, which I love. And they have historical sites that they honor, like monuments, but then they do have like modern, I mean, it's just, they literally have everything. Yeah. Italy is my favorite country, although Switzerland really had my heart quite a bit. I'm not going to lie. We only spent a few days in there for Christmas markets, and it was really fun this year. But Italy is my favorite country.
What, I've seen the Christmas markets on YouTube, of course.
I did it for 2 weeks. Cool. Chris and I, we did
2 weeks.
Yeah, we went over there like 13 days. I couldn't miss 2 Sundays because I was at the church. So we literally like went as much as we could. And we flew into Munich, and we did Switzerland, some of France, and then back to Germany. And we did Christmas markets every day for like 11 full days. Yeah, it was awesome. So that we just did this past Christmas. Yeah.
Was it cold?
Yes.
Is it freezing over there?
Where we were was not freezing, but we did not see the sun, but maybe 2 half days. Very dreary. And I'm a like a seasonal depressed girl. Like I was like, but you can't be depressed when you're at a Christmas market. Like it was just joy. Christmas markets are the best. Oh, it's great.
Okay. So in conclusion,
are you good with this camera?
Yeah, I just won't use it.
Okay.
But, you know, like whatever.
All right. You can start again. I just wanted to make sure before. Yep.
Oh yeah, because I don't think it's a battery. I think it overheated.
Yeah.
So I'm like, whatever.
Okay.
I'm just
because you would fight it otherwise.
Using this.
Yeah.
So in conclusion, so thinking about your entire life, all your experiences and everything, like what type of encouragement would you like? Because I mean, well, you had encouragement all the way through, but what type of encouragement would you like to give to parents relating to like how they interact with their kids as it relates to, hey, they might want to go into traveling, they might want to go into ministry, they might want to go into entrepreneurship. And what would you say to kids as far as, hey, how to sort of spark that little ministerial entrepreneurial bug, like in closing encouragement to families?
Both parents and kids, if you are strong in your faith and you stay in the word, and know this is a Christian homeschool podcast, but if you really are super sensitive to the Spirit and to God, everything will come from that. And so it really is your guiding light. And so for kids, like I said this earlier, you might not have your burning bush moment. Like I've only heard God talk to me once in 37 years, but I also knew when things felt right or when they felt dissonant. And that was a sure sign for me. Every time I've transitioned was like a dissonance in my like spirit, in my gut. You might call it an intuition. No, it's the Holy Spirit. If you're a Christian, right? Like that's what it is. So I think for kids, like listen to that. Don't be afraid to like do fun things. And also if you don't feel anything, it means that he'll use you no matter what. So it's not like he's trying to guide you. It's like, no matter what you're in, just do it well and do it like be a disciple maker wherever you are. Parents, it's hard to support that sometimes when you think you see a gifting in your child. I feel like I've had 3 different seasons to use different giftings, similar things throughout, but different talents in each of them truly. And so it's okay if you see one because it will come back around. So don't over manage things, but also like just keep an open mind. Because my parents and in-laws quite a few times were like, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to leave this? You know, and I love them, but I was like, and so keep an open mind. And if your kids are like good in their identity and whose they are, then they will be fine, right? Like it's all about whose they are, not what title they have. And God will use no matter what. Even when we make mistakes, God still uses it.
Right.
So guess what? It's okay. It's okay. So I think, stay aligned to the Spirit because that will help you out a lot. And you don't need to hear God's voice to know that something's right or wrong. And if you do something that you think is wrong, he'll use it anyways.
That's good.
So it's okay.
Just trust.
Just trust. And guess what? You can always change careers every 5 years.
Thank you, Chelsea.
You're welcome.
Yeah, this has been awesome. I love it.
It's fun. This is fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Yay. Well.
Okay, so what did you think about that? I think she's awesome. I think she's unbelievable. And to look at her entire history, and the one key thing that I want you to walk away with from that interview is that ministry was everywhere. You know, every aspect of her life, she was doing ministry with and without a title. And she's just going to continue to do that ministry as far as it relates to being a travel agent. So all y'all homeschoolers out there, if you need a travel agent, go down in the show notes and find out what her website is and email, all the contact information, and use her as the official travel agent of the homeschool community. So I'm here, of course, in North Carolina. So I'm glad you enjoyed. I'm glad you stayed. Subscribe to the podcast. Look down below. We got a newsletter for you to subscribe to also. So thank you so much for staying to the end and enjoying this awesome interview with my friend Chelsea. Be blessed. This is Lynn Pierre.